So, folks, we gotta talk about the girls fighting. Um, Candace Owens has for, you know, however long it's been since Charlie Kirk was shot, been talking about how it's actually a super secret plot. There's a massive conspiracy. Turning Point USA set him up, and the Israeli government shot Charlie Kirk because he was going to turn on Israel. And like also she's been talking about how the French Secret Service or whatever is coming after her because she's been transvestigating the first lady of France for some reason. She lives in her own little conspiratorial world, but part of her claims around Turning Point USA setting up Charlie Kirk to be assassinated also have kind of taken on a life of their own insofar as other people are claiming, Charlie Kirk's wife, Erika Kirk, might have had something to do with it. And Candace Owens has been more than comfortable heavily alluding that Erika Kirk may have had something to do with it, which in turn has led to this massive rift in the GOP writ large. Now, why has this led to such a huge fallout? Well, largely because what we have here is kind of two different factions. One faction is essentially the Christian nationalist faction that wants to say, look, guys, we can work with Israel to fulfill the biblical prophecy and also maintain our political power and, build up a conservative movement that will, kind of create a theocracy here in America, right? And the other faction believes many of the same things. However, it is just kind of too anti-Semitic to go along with the let's work with Israel type of line. And that's kind of the Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson boat, as it were. And essentially, Candace Owens' entire shtick. I know there are some people on the left who are like, she's an anti-Zionist. And I'm sorry, if you think that, you've been duped. Because Candace Owens does not stand up for anti-Zionism. You just have to look at what conspiracies she supports to understand she's just anti-Semitic. That's why she helped to try and rehabilitate Kanye West's image after he went on rants about the Jews. And we watched through those content those videos that she made with Kanye West, and it's incoherent anti-Semitic garbage. Kanye West isn't making coherent political points. She was callously using a man very mentally ill to launder anti-Semitic talking points, and she realized how lucrative that could be. And that's kind of what spurred her shift here. And so what's happening here is that Candace Owens is using this particular moment in time to appeal to the most conspiratorially minded people on the planet to kind of co-opt, the anti-Semites who were supporting Turning Point USA and to bring that together with the world of InfoWars and kind of create some kind of hypercharged anti-Semitic fascist thing, an amalgamation of a lot of the American conservative mind's worst elements, all but put together. That's kind of their deal, right? And as far as I'm concerned, both these elements, both sides of this conflict are terrible, and I wish them nothing but the most self-destructive infighting imaginable. And that all culminated with Erika Kirk going on Fox News and putting out an interview yesterday. And she also put it out on her YouTube channel, and we're going to take a look at it. Here we go.
With Erika Kirk sharing her journey with America and the world, we are grateful at Fox to have her here to shine a light on healing as we all miss and mourn the loss of her beloved Charlie Kirk. Not all of her journey has been without, well, hate, conspiracies, and oddly, speculation about where her husband is buried. Now, for the first time, Erika, who's with me now, addresses all of it from the perspective of a grieving widow, a mom, and a battle-tested American. Good to see you again today. Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroy?
Wait, is this AI? No, this isn't AI. This is a real interview on real Fox News.
My husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying. One thing, that this is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that, but this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Yeah, because Charlie Kirk never engaged in conspiracism about individuals killed by the police, never engaged in character assassination against, I don't know, targets of police brutality.
Does
I don't know.
everything have to be a performance?
My sympathy is
you
low.
don't need to build him museum.
My sympathy for this woman who is in charge of a multi-million-dollar propaganda empire that is working on behalf of the GOP to destroy healthcare for all Americans. My sympathy is low.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human.
Yeah, we're just too busy to address the rampant conspiratorial nonsense that people are peddling about the death of my husband. We were just too busy.
We are all grieving in our own way, and they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard, and I get that. We're doing the same.
Nehemiah, come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Wrong.
Dun dun da da, dun dun da da, da 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 da.
Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for my...
Okay, but also, real quick, they got the guy who did it. So, just real quick.
Or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities.
What do you mean anytime you hear anything about your husband's assassination? What do you mean? What you got the guy who did it, right? So what else is there for you to pass along to the authorities? The guy's already like in custody. What more have you, like, what are you passing along? And if that's not the guy, then what are you talking about? Why are you saying the thing you just said? You shut your mouth about it.
Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than
Charlie hagiography is dog shit. Yeah, I did like a 5-hour long video about how dog shit it is.
anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that...
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, so her point is, you can do whatever you want to me. You can crucify me all you want. But when you go after the company that I run, when you go after my ability to make money, oh, then my vengeance will be swift.
I love, and you're making...
Yeah, when you go after my money tree, exactly.
hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this. No.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this...
Are they good friends? Why'd you say that? Do you know her, like, in a colloquial capacity? Is that not a violation of, like, journalistic ethics to not mention that? What? I've never seen you like this. How is that relevant unless you've seen her a lot?
This is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus.
Is it a woke mind virus?
Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Oh my god. No! Why'd you say it like that? Why did you enunciate it like that, girl?
What image? Image Jean Olivia?
No! You look, okay, you're being accused by the faction of the conservative movement that is looking for anything to connect you to Israel, and why enunciate it like that?
Yes, I believe in our judicial system.
Nah, girl, stop.
Because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe.
Yeah, this is not gonna make the the conspiracy theorists go away.
Even our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box?
Excuse my French? Wait a minute. Insert like numbers meme. Oh my god. Judicial? Excuse my French? Oh my god. She's calling out Candace Owens. Oh my god. Who's targeted by the French? Candace Owens is being targeted by the French legionnaires because she's been transvestigating the first lady of France. Oh my god. And who is supposed to be in bed with Israel? Erika Kirk. The judicial system. No. Oh my god, it's all coming. Like, this is what every conspiracy theorist who watched that is going to instantly grab onto. It's all going to be nonsense, anti-Semitic bullshit, but they are going to grab onto that. And I say that not having seen any of the stuff that has come out after this. But folks, you should know, we're going to cover it.
Box where they've been creeping from.
I don't care what box you're in, but just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. You name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know, the conspiracies that are out there, all of the like, do you think that there is more of it now because you do shine your light? I mean, did people just expect you would?
What does that mean? You shine your light. What, you mean like I bare my soul on national television and say what I think and feel? No, I mean, you leave the lights outside your house on all the time. Do you think it's because you shine your light from your house?
Just go away.
I don't know what they expected.
I know it's Christian stuff.
I don't know what they expected.
But like, it's like, it's from the parable of like keeping your light under a basket or whatever. But like, what does that mean in this particular context?
They pick on you because of your accessories. I mean, I've seen some of it.
Oh, yeah. No, at this point, it's the conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Like, seriously. Wow. If you want to find and pick me apart, go right ahead. I do not care.
I will also throw this out there. It's actually very cheap to be a conspiracy theorist. Having a conspiracy theory, pursuing it, etc. It's very cheap. It's a low cost of entry. And you know what? Thousands of hours of entertainment if you go down a rabbit hole, it's free entertainment for people who, have a lot of time.
Don't. This was happening before Charlie was murdered. Both of us have been through the ringer of people will call you whatever they want to call you. They will. But I have seen it firsthand impact the people that I love, and I'm done. I'm done. And if people think that I was just going to wilt away, I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry and be in fetal position. This is a duty to my husband, and it's an absolute honor, and I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
And that's what we will say here on Outnumbered 2. God bless you.
Wow. Yeah. Very powerful stuff. Now, I do want to say, Candace Owens is doing really well off of this grift. Basically, her efforts to peddle conspiracy nonsense have been overwhelmingly successful and have like doubled her views in a lot of cases, or even tripled or quadrupled her views in a lot of cases since Charlie Kirk's assassination. And her latest videos, shocking revelation about Egyptian planes and Tim Pool, shots are taken. You also have, again, the billion-dollar question: who stood to benefit from Charlie Kirk's assassination? Oh, look, a picture of Kash Patel and then a picture of Tim Pool. And here we have two different videos here. Erika Kirk tells me to stop. Tyler Robinson makes his first appearance. Erika Kirk goes off on conspiracy theorists. Now, I'm a bit torn about which one of these to cover, because both have occurred over the last 24 hours. I'm a little torn. Let's just go with the one I was originally planning here.
Okay, you guys. Now, I wasn't sure about Erika. I was waiting, kind of a situation for her to be in, obviously, having lost her husband.
Oh, these are lives.
Becoming the CEO and the chairman of a company. It's just a lot of transition, and it's nice to wait for more information before you prejudge or just make an assumption about somebody, and it maybe is not based in reality. Well, we are getting a lot more of Erika Kirk this week. I'll tell you that, because she has been doing the rounds in the media really over the last couple of weeks. And she just gave an interview live with Harris Faulkner on Fox News, where she finally addressed the quote unquote conspiracy theories. And I have to say this because it's true, but it completely missed the mark. For me, I am sorry, it just has. But the good news is that she is now unmurkying the water in terms of her intentions with this massive political organization. That's good news, truly, because we knew Charlie, and now we are getting an opportunity to know Erika. Plus, later on in the show, it's Knives Out for Tucker Carlson. As always, he's trending right now because he has officially waded into the Who Killed Charlie Kirk narrative. And since he is not a bought and paid for Fed, he is siding with not.
Okay, boy, we're like a minute in and we're already getting fingers pointing at who is and is not a Fed. Oh boy.
Just the American people worldwide. And he says that he's not buying the official narrative. And there are some lingering questions. And he confirms what I told you about the Egyptian planes. So let's jump right back into this. Welcome back to Candace. Look, I have been very patient. I do tend to focus on the evidence that's in front of us, obviously asking questions when we come up across something that someone has said and it doesn't add up, or if they lied, create a list. And you guys were coming after me because I was saying, look, we can write into our imaginations how Erika is thinking or how she's feeling or what she should be wearing, but she hasn't actually said anything yet, right? That was my stance. She hasn't actually said anything yet. Give her a chance, okay? And now she is making the rounds in the press because Charlie's book, his posthumous book, is coming out about the Sabbath, and she's speaking about the quote-unquote conspiracies as she sits down with a lot of these news anchors. So first and foremost, she's sitting down here with Harris Faulkner, and I just want to show you a couple of clips from this sit-down, which is now trending. And she begins by addressing the question, which has been in the air, regarding where Charlie Kirk is buried. That question resurfaced this week in a big way because
Okay, but like, who gives a fuck? Right? Like, okay, you don't know where Charlie Kirk is buried. Why do you get to know? Like, why do you get to know that?
Yiannopoulos and a few others have asserted with absolute certainty that Charlie has not yet been buried. That's what they're saying. They say they have proof of that. And at first, Harris Faulkner is asking about that claim. Take a listen.
Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our chart.
I mean, let me be clear. I don't think Candace Owens has lost her marbles because I firmly believe she just is in this for the money. Like, she's doing what she needs to do to cater to an audience of virulent bigots, and she's going down that path because it makes her a lot of money.
Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing?
Was that you
can
or
my
Candace?
babies
That was
have
me.
one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Okay, so on its face, I actually agree with that. I think that when people are being buried and where they're being buried and how their funerals are done, that is very private matter, okay? So objectively, I agree with what she's saying, okay? But subjectively, because we are dealing with the subject of Erika Kirk and what transpired immediately following Charlie's assassination, this is going to be read as Meghan Markle syndrome, okay? Meghan Markle syndrome, where you want privacy when you want it, but you want publicity whenever you want it, and that just doesn't work, okay?
What are you talking about? People make that distinction all the time. Like, you go in your home, you got privacy. You go out of your home, you don't have privacy. Everyone makes that decision all the time. How does this have anything to do with Meghan Markle?
It doesn't work that way. I honestly think it was said best by Bethany Frankel, not related to this situation. Bethany Frankel is on Real Housewives, a reality show. And she was referring to one of the housewives who lived her life very publicly, showcased her marriage, was buying tons of Louis Vuitton bags, and they had tons of money. And then when their relationship soured, the housewife basically asked the public for privacy. And Bethany was like, no, this isn't how it works. Like, we were riding with you on the way up, we're riding with you on the way out. You don't get to like pick and choose when you want privacy and when you don't.
Yes, actually, you do. You do in fact get to choose that. And if I had a sponsorship with NordVPN or some other kind of VPN software, I would put it right here. But I don't have that. I just have you guys. So consider liking this video, subscribing, leave a comment. It really helps. And also support the stream, support the show financially if you are at all able. I really, really appreciate it when you do. So I don't have a sponsorship deal with NordVPN, but VPNs can also be pretty useful for protecting your privacy, I guess. I don't know. A lot of people tell me that. I also have one, so. But I'm not going to tell you which one, because they haven't paid me yet.
Want privacy. And subjectively, as it, in the matter of Erika Kirk, this is the same person who had somebody
Okay, wait a minute. What?
In the matter of Erika Kirk,
The concept of a door would disagree.
I have concepts of a door. Also, can we just take a moment to marvel at the subtitling of Erika Kirk? Erika Kirk? Subtitles, go home, you're drunk. Speaking of, this is an hour long. And I need a little bit of liquid courage for it. Oh my god.
This is the same person who had somebody record her over Charlie Kirk's casket. That was not our business, truly. And I can say that decision was made by her. And there is, some credence to the claim that everybody grieves differently. I wouldn't even record myself over a casket ever, okay? Some people maybe perhaps want to have that memory. But the decision to publish that, you crying over your husband's casket, and to publish his dead body on Instagram was a decision that was made by Erika. And we can watch that. Take a look.
Oh, I love you.
Oh god. Okay, well that is fucking weird. Okay. Wasn't prepared for that. Okay, that is creepy as fuck. Not gonna lie. I must have missed that, because Jesus Christ. Why would you record this moment for yourself forever? I'm sure that I played it on stream Fundamentally Broken, but genuinely I blocked that from my memory because it's just so deeply off-putting. This video is a wild one to post online. Yeah.
I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
That is an incredibly personal and an incredibly intimate moment that you invited the public into, okay? There was no reason to do that outside of wanting to share something that was very private with the public.
On the one hand, I hate to say Candace Owens is kind of right on this one, but Erika did post that, and that was very weird.
And now you fast forward 3 months removed, and it's why does the public want to know where he's buried? It doesn't work.
Well, wait. Okay. One thing doesn't justify another thing here. Making a weird post while grieving your husband's death on social media doesn't mean people are obligated to know where you buried his body. That doesn't follow. That logic is flawed.
Like that. You have to make a decision. I want this always to be private, or I want this always to be public.
Matt Raid,
that's
hello.
My personal feedback there. Later on in this same interview, she launches into a strong defense of Turning Point USA employees who have, just as a matter of fact, told many lies, many inconsistencies. These are verifiable. So they are currently lying to the public, or they have lied to the public, but she is going to deliver quite an impassioned defense regarding these.
Well, yeah, Jazz Dog. She married Charlie Kirk. Like, yeah.
Particular individuals and the organization as a whole. And I want you to hear her passion. Take a listen.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much.
Obviously, we all know how to find where Charlie Kirk is buried. All we have to do is go to where they put the Constitution on display, look at the backside of it, and follow the map. All right? That map is going to take us to a variety of national monuments that existed at the time of the Founding Fathers. What didn't exist at the time of the Founding Fathers was an obscure and arcane process of, replanting the site of the royal mausoleum. And now you might be saying, but Jack, why do we have a royal mausoleum in the United States? And the answer to that is, we don't. It's not in the United States. You fools, you simpletons. You thought the United States was run by the president? No. It's run by the Lord Supreme of all he surveys. That's right. I'm talking about the Lizard Emperor himself, Klikzakzu. That's right. He lords over all he surveys from his mountaintop home on the very peak of Mount Everest. That's right. We're going to Mount Everest after we've stolen the Constitution of the United States. Now, why would we do that? Well, you see, the Constitution of the United States is actually the key to the Royal Mausoleum. Ho ho ho! And that is where Charlie Kirk is buried, because if he was buried in a normal plot like any other person, why, it'd be too easy to discover the existence of the king, the lord of all who he surveys. And thus he had to be hidden. Please do not take this as anything other than an expansion of the Ratman lore here on the channel. And what the fuck is this? I may have gotten a little bit too carried away with the Curtis Sliwa Ratman bit. It's kind of taken on a life of its own, and I don't know what came over me. I just started lore building. It was, I wasn't myself for a second there.
Of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row.
Because he was able to tune into the Ratman's cognitive frequencies.
You know, this is going to be way too arcane and accessible for anyone to watch this video as a standalone thing. Just know, during the New York City mayoral election, I started doing a bit with Curtis Sliwa, okay? I did a voice, I did a whole thing, and I pretended he was a crazed man from the sewers who was obsessed with rat men. And over time and repetition of the bit, the rat men took on kind of their own societal structures and culture, and kind of in a D&D sense. And you know, that has continued to expand, and I apologize. I just want to sincerely apologize to those of you who have dedicated your time and effort to watch this channel for making it genuinely impenetrable when I go on bits like that. I do apologize. Yes, the Ratman mythos. Indeed.
Not come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. Mm-hmm. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human.
What if they buried Charlie Kirk under the National Pez Museum? I mean, it would make sense. His head was roughly proportioned to be that of a Pez figurine.
We're all grieving in our own way, and they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard, and I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever.
I thought they caught his killer. Well, everyone's getting super conspiratorial about the suspected shooter, or alleged shooter, rather, because they haven't been releasing a ton of information about Tyler Robinson, which is weird if they've been if they've been conducting an investigation.
But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
I'm sorry, but that whole thing right there is frustrating. And I'm going to explain to you why I just do not accept any of that. First and foremost, the idea that she does not have time. Okay, she definitely has time, okay? She's done Hannity, she's done The Five.
Okay, yeah, she has time. Yep, she has time.
That's the homie and that's what you want to do, sure. But we are indeed speaking about a coast-to-coast flight to stand up next to somebody and basically say, Charlie loved you. That was like the, 15-second speech.
Grigor Niet Russian here. We accept your apology and we understand how what was meant to be a one-off bit can take on a life of its own. No harm done.
Well, Grigor Niet Russian, I really appreciate that you accept the apology. It is sometimes strange how jokes can take on a life of their own, indeed.
That she gave, right? Here's actually, we have a clip of that speech that she gave.
Well, he was also very good friends with a guy named Charlie. We just knew him as Charlie, and his wife, who we love so much, is here with us, and maybe,
We just knew him as Charlie, because I forgot his last name. Who are we talking about? Have you seen my ballroom? The ballroom's coming together. I fired the architect, but that's okay. I can eyeball it. I've developed a lot of ballrooms, folks. Charlie never developed any ballrooms, loser.
How close they were together. Maybe, Erika, you could say a couple of words, please.
I'm honored to, sir. Charlie loved you. It's hard not to get emotional because...
And what was his last name again?
I know that he would have been the first phone call
If you want to
when he found
understand
out.
these bits, you need to activate your clown chakra first.
Well, never activate your clown chakra.
You were going to be taking this position, and the way that I was able to witness the two of you work together for years and to champion and support the president was absolutely humbling to witness, and I am so proud of you. And Charlie is going to be with you every single day in spirit, and I will be praying for you every day because I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible opportunity for you. And sir, thank you for allowing Sergio to have this beautiful moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
That's just an ambassador to India swearing in ceremony. Again, if that's your friend and you want to be there, that makes sense. She's also a person, and she can decide what she wants to do there. But the point that I am making is that's a coastal flight that she made to be there to watch a paper get signed. She has also made time for an upcoming CBS News town hall sit down with Barry Weiss, which was filmed today. So Erika Kirk has time. She has time. It is just what she means to say, not her priority, which is you are allowed to prioritize things in your own life. But this is not a matter of time constraint. It is not her priority.
Yeah, it's not her priority to address wild, crazed speculation that she murdered her own husband.
Priority to respond to the majority, actually. The majority of people think of this as BS. The majority of people think Turning Point is acting suspicious.
He literally said in a text that he thought he would be assassinated by Israel the day before he was assassinated. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's evidence. I mean, it's evidence that he said he thought he'd be assassinated by Israel. I don't think it's evidence of him being assassinated by Israel. Those are two different things.
And she does not feel that it is what she wants to do as a matter of priority, responding. Okay, that's fine. Now, to that point that people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars. I just don't get how there's not someone on this very large PR team, as we're seeing these PR campaigns go out, that doesn't go, hey, maybe we should strike that. They made $40 million like 2 nights ago at Mar-a-Lago. Maybe that feels kind of a little bit like let them eat cake-ish. Oh, and we've made more than, separately from Mar-a-Lago, Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know, this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million. But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the BS narrative that is being fed and the very obvious psychological operation that is being employed to make you accept the BS that they are trying to sell to us. Gosh darn you. Did you make $1,000?
Gosh darn you.
Today? Speaking about Charlie Kirk? Well,
no, I didn't.
You should be ashamed of yourself, says Turning Point USA, who in large part made that money because of those very people who gave to the organization immediately following Charlie Kirk's assassination. And the thing that is especially absurd about that is trying to almost like, I want to be clear that Turning Point USA is my family. The Charlie Kirk show is my family. She's just expanding the wings of people that we're not allowed to critique because they're in the family. If you call them fam, you can't critique them, right? Oh, I'm sorry. We actually are showing a clip of Rob McCoy defending a pedophile or trying to launder the reputation of that's fam. That's the CK show fam. Oh, I'm sorry. We are actually pointing to the fact that we know for certain that this person or organization is sexual deviant. That's fam. Don't you get me upset. I know.
I mean, part of what's happening here is just an airing of dirt, like an airing of the open secrets within Turning Point USA and the broader conservosphere, right? So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Turning Point USA has, some tea to spill, as it were.
But this is a now $150 million in the last 3-month organization, and we employ tons of people, but you can't critique. You can't critique the fam. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be very clear here. This is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies, because what you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic, okay?
Guys, I want you to know, if I choke on a ham sandwich, it was Trump, okay? No, Liz Galahad, don't do it!
You really care about your team? Answer the questions, okay? Just demystify the entire event. Come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious. Don't try to mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children, okay? The multi-million-dollar subsidiaries, Turning Point, Turning Point Action, all that, those are my kids, so you can't critique them. Not a good idea. Okay, it may work in PR world. You guys, I know how it's an obvious PR campaign. It's never been more obvious of a psychological operation. I actually wish they would put me on payroll so I could help them make these things look more organic than having every single person that has been telling us to stop asking questions all make the exact same video within 4 seconds of each other.
I mean, the thing is, I don't care if she's asking questions per se, because again, to be clear, this is my take on the entire situation.
Let them fight.
I don't care about this story whatsoever. I personally haven't seen compelling evidence that indicates that Charlie Kirk was not killed by the guy who confessed to killing him.
Ben Shapiro voice him Candace Owens.
But,
being very
they can
logical
fight.
here. Maybe she was born a man. Could she secretly be trans?
Candace Owens is very logical here. Maybe she was born a man. Could she secretly be trans? That's my Ben Shapiro voice. I tried it, Nathan. I'm sorry.
Being whoa!
No evidence aside from the fact that he said he thought he was going to be killed by Israel. Yeah, but again, I can say, I think I'm going to be killed by the Trump administration. And that doesn't mean that if I die tomorrow, that makes it true. There needs to be more evidence than just a guy said something. That's not evidence. Like, give me a money trail to the shooter. Like, give me a money trail to show how, like, the shooter was paid. Give me like evidence of like a handler giving the kill order. Give me evidence of like any of the surrounding things that would make it like that would connect the dots between Charlie Kirk's death and like an Israeli, like, you know, Shin Bet operation. And I don't see that evidence other than a guy said he thought someone might kill him and then he died the next day. He said he was no longer going to support the pro-Israel cause. I just don't think that Israel thought so much of Charlie Kirk that they felt he was worth assassinating. Like, show me more evidence. Show me evidence that, like, the Israeli state deeply cared about Charlie Kirk's position on Israel and was willing to, like, conduct a foreign operation on American soil, their number one ally, in order to kill Charlie Kirk. That is a big fucking risk. That's a big fucking risk. So what you're asking me to buy into here, is a very, very big ask. And him saying a thing isn't the thing that is going to make me believe that. I need evidence. He sent it in a text message to his company. I don't care. That's not evidence. If I send a text message to everyone I know saying I might be killed tomorrow by the purple spaghetti monster, like, that doesn't mean if I die tomorrow, a purple spaghetti monster killed me. It's not like, look, it is one data point. And what I'm asking for is more than one data point. More than a guy said something. To substantiate the conspiracy theory and make it just a theory, you need more than one data point. That's what I'm saying. This is like people finding, like, the skull of a dinosaur and saying it's a fire-breathing dragon that could fly. And, like, you don't know that, actually. You don't have any data points about that. If you were being paid millions of dollars by donors to support a certain cause, then you decided to go against that cause, and then you said they thought they were going to kill you, that's evidence. It's one data point. It's literally just one data point. Is it a motive? But the issue is, establishing a motive doesn't necessarily equate to a full substantiation of a theory. I'm sorry. Like, if you have one data point and a motive, that does not make a case.
Extreme claims require equally extreme evidence. Come on, people.
Yeah, come on now.
Whoa, Erika Kirk shuts down the No, she didn't even respond.
Like, I'm sorry, the allegation here that, like, Israel is so powerful and influential that they could kill Charlie Kirk in broad daylight in front of running cameras, but they can't, like, assassinate Candace Owens. She's just too sneaky. Like, what? Like, they can't reach Tucker Carlson. He's just too embedded. They just can't do it. They're in their secret bunkers. I don't know. I feel like the more you look at it, the more it falls apart.
To one of the conspiracies, she gave us emotion. She said, I'm a mother, I am a wife, and we never asked about whether she was mother or wife. We want to know if she is a CEO and a chairman. And a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize.
He was part of the group and knew things about them that he was going to expose. I think that's bullshit. Sorry, there is no way. Like, that's like saying the Nelk boys have insider intel on the Israeli government because they were paid by Netanyahu to give him a softball interview. Like, nah, I'm sorry. That's bullshit.
A CEO and a chairman cannot respond to valid questions and critiques about finances,
It makes so much more sense than anything you can provide. I don't know. there's a guy who confessed to it, and the evidence seems to line up with his grandpa's World War I rifle. I don't know. That seems to line up pretty good. I just like, I don't know. Sometimes people snap and try to kill other people. That seems like a more reasonable explanation for me than a secret Israeli op on American soil that potentially endangers their entire operation on a global scale with their number one ally should it be revealed. Oh, and the rifle they said he used isn't even possible that he was shot by it. Well, there's a piece of evidence. How do you know that? How is it impossible for you to be shot by that bullet? How, like, please, elaborate.
Shady actions that are being taken by people that require presidential pardons, people that are meaningfully asking why we are not getting a clear answer of what took place on September 10th. A CEO, okay, does not get to respond and say, that's my family. Okay, that's the energy of what I would expect from a mother speaking to a teacher, which I was this mom, like, that's my kid. Okay. And I'll shut this down right now. That's my child. This is not a child. Turning Point USA is an organization. And Erika already had an uphill battle to climb, like that she had to climb this because, by the way, just because if this was Goldman Sachs and the president of Goldman Sachs or a managing director over at Goldman Sachs died in a horrifically violent way, the Goldman Sachs family might mourn for a couple of months, but they would have instantly had someone to replace that individual. And beyond that, they would have never accepted the public and the people that are investing money. They would have never accepted, well, he's gone, but here's his wife. She already had a hill to climb here, right? Like, this does not make you qualified because you love someone to take on their job. I am not qualified to do what my husband does. That's why I said I wouldn't want to be the CEO and the chairman of a company. Actually, there's a great clip of Jordan Peterson asking that very question. Like, why do women want to be? Like, why would you want to have? It's actually a lot of work and it's very stressful and it's a lot of numbers and you're crunching numbers and you have to be everywhere. Okay. If you want that, great. If you built the company and you're in the room like Charlie Kirk did, and you have proven to the public, like, hey, I built this company. I didn't even go to college and I've been doing this for over a decade as Charlie Kirk did. You've earned that street cred. Okay. So she already had a hill to climb because now they're saying, well, this is his wife. And so, that's it. Well, now you're going to have to prove that you have the ability to be a CEO and a chairman and not just a wife who we expect emotion from. And you're rightful in that capacity. You are rightful to have emotion. You are rightful to be the aggrieved widow, but you don't get to just be widowed into the position of chairman and CEO. You don't get to respond to, well, in this case, investors, donors who have given money and are asking meaningful questions with, no, you don't get replies right now because this is the Charlie Kirk show, fam. Doesn't work this way, okay? And the broader point removed from Erika, which a lot of these mockingbird influencers seem to be making, is essentially they're saying to us that scientific inquiry and investigation in and of itself is now patently wrong.
Being a podcaster does not earn you street cred, lol.
Can confirm. Not a super street cred filled occupation.
Right? Essentially, we should just trust the state. Don't believe your own instincts. Don't believe your own eyes. Don't ask any questions. And I really want to stress to you guys how utterly ridiculous that logic is, right? Because if we followed that logic in any other situation, there would never be a crime solved ever, okay? If we just ascribe to the idea that scientific investigation is on its face wrong, it would not work. I'll give you a crappy analogy here, but imagine if there's like some young mother and she dies suddenly in the middle of the night, presumably in the middle of the night, and her husband is the first one to report it in the morning, and the cops show up who happen to be his buddies. They get there, and then they dramatically close the case in 48 hours, and neighbors are like, wait a minute. Excuse me, officers. Actually, you might want to know some other facts here about this guy. Like, he's in the mafia. These people would be like, how dare you question the people closest to, he loved her. That's his wife. Being a gang member is not evidence. Why are you saying he's a gang member? It's not evidence. And you get another nosy neighbor who produces evidence that in the middle of the night before she died, they saw the guy outside, the husband outside, removing cameras in the front yard. That's not evidence. Yeah, but I saw him go out in the middle. He put something in his car in the trunk. He was looking shady. That's not evidence. How dare you find that to be suspicious?
I mean, that is evidence. Like, it is evidence, but evidence of what? Like, it depends on what you're building a case for.
More nosy neighbors start discussing, and they were like, hey, we heard them. They were having actually a heated argument before she was found dead. I think it was about money.
Y'all know what I agree with Candace Owens. That was a poor analogy.
Yeah, it was a poor analogy.
And next thing you know, you got Allie Stuckey from the HOA. She blasts out an email and she says, it's unbiblical. It's unbiblical to gossip. Hearing an argument is not hard evidence. You have no right to discuss it. Yeah, we're the nosy neighbors, okay? We put together a list of 20 verifiable lies that have been told in the weeks following this sudden death event. And yeah, we have some questions. So we're not going to accept Tim Pool jumping on the airwaves with big estrogen energy telling us we're evil because we have like school board elections next Thursday. We're the...
Yeah, Candace Owens has just embraced full-on gremlin energy and is just going like, yeah, no, we don't care about elections anymore. We just want to shit on all the conservative content creators and stir the pot with as many people as possible. I for one support this.
Nosy neighbors. We don't care about the elections coming up. We want to know whether or not we are in bed with people who are capable of murder, people that are capable of covering up murders. Actually, we, the nosy neighbors, feel a little bit less safe in this neighborhood until we know whether or not there are some psychopathic killers in our midst. How about that? That's how I feel. I think that's how a lot of people feel right now. So I want to express that. And this psychological campaign filled with emotional manipulation and how dare you, and the aggrieved widow speaks, and so you're not allowed to question a $150 million organization. No, I reject it. I reject that 100%. Which is why I will say it has arrived as a blast of fresh air that on this very same day, Tucker Carlson is standing up to the nonsense. He's not speaking about Erika, obviously. He is friends with Erika. But just the nonsense of what the FBI is saying, he's wading in and saying, yeah, the FBI is not being clear in what happened. And I have questions because, and I think it feels like a blast of fresh air, because and I know many people at home, are seeing all of these people that we followed and we thought that they were heroes. And suddenly this assassination has exposed them all to be frauds. Like for the right price, they will join Operation Mockingbird. For me personally, that is how I feel, okay? Like people in the military that I thought were forthright, people that were journalists that I thought were forthright. I just am so let down. And I don't think I would have been able to handle if Tucker Carlson was among those people. You need hard evidence. As if the killer's going to walk in and be like, okay, here's how I did it, okay? I'm going to give you the hard evidence. I was here, there. Like, what? Instead, Tucker Carlson is coming out and he is blasting the corporate and the Fed narrative with common sense. He joined Theo Von, and here is what he had to say. Take a listen.
I don't understand the official story at all.
Of his assassination?
I don't understand it, and I want to make sure that there is a truly rigorous and honest federal investigation of it, and I'm definitely concerned about that. A, B, I think that...
yeah, I mean, I would also be concerned about the investigatory properties possessed by a Kash Patel FBI, a podcaster with no experience doing that. I wouldn't want me in charge of an FBI investigation either.
I don't know many of the details, but I know that recently Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and I just want to say that is factually true. That's true. So that's like the one data point that I happen to know is true. What does that mean? I have literally no idea. I can't even guess, but that's very, very strange.
And what is Egyptian? It could mean aircrafts from Egypt. Who knows?
I think that they were registered in Egypt.
Got it.
And but that fact is true. So enough. And it also her claim that, there were kind of a disproportionately large number of foreign registered cell phones at the event. That's also true. So what does that add up to? I don't know, but it means that, the FBI has a moral and legal obligation to look in every direction and to be open-minded as you would in any investigation, in journalism, in science. It's all the same process. I don't know the answer, and I'm going to sift through everything as open-mindedly as I can, as honestly as I can, to get to what the truth is. That's science, that's law enforcement, that's journalism. It's all the same. That's justice. And I just want to make sure that is happening. And I just don't have a ton of confidence in the FBI or the men who run it. And I'm not saying that out of ignorance at all.
That's a scary part too.
I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying I think it's really important that we have that.
That is what authenticity sounds like. And that's what we're doing here. We are investigating, right? Sometimes you get something wrong, you correct it. But I was right about the Egyptian planes. And when you hear Tucker Carlson say that he is confirming that that part is true, what I take from that, Tucker Carlson has been very clear. He grew up with CIA agents, okay? This is a guy who grew up in Virginia.
Owens, this is one of the rare cases we got as close to an admission of guilt as possible. The flip-in pastor turned him in.
I mean, the pastor turned him in. His dad turned him in. It was his grandpa's gun.
There's legit more evidence that Sean Combs was involved in the deaths of Tupac and Biggie.
I mean, yeah, like...
Sean Combs was involved in the deaths of Tupac and Biggie.
The thing I'm struggling with here is that we have a guy who has confessed. We have the guy's priest, or not priest, but pastor, turn him in. We have his dad turn him in. We have text messages from the dad to the son asking, "Hey, where's grandpa's gun?" And like he recognizes the gun from the posting and broadcasting on the television. So I guess my question is the conspiracy then that Israel paid the pastor and the dad and the grandpa, potentially, as well as this guy, to take the fall? So that's four different people, and none of them are going to squeal about Israel being involved here. Like, when the rubber actually starts to meet the road on this conspiracy theory, like, it doesn't really seem to hold any water for me.
Father, he learned after his father died, he thought he was just working with the CIA. No, his father was on the payroll of the CIA. So Tucker's friends are in the state. So you should take it as a concrete fact that there's something up with these Egyptian planes, and they were in fact following around Charlie, and they were following around Erika, as I told you. And that means people in the NSA, the CIA, are confirming that that is real. And yet, just last week, what we got from Blake Neff, and I know he's untouchable, he's in the fam, but I'm going to go ahead and touch that and say, like, this is not okay, the vibe is not right, is making a mockery of it. That is what we mean when we say none of this is passing the vibe check with Turning Point USA. There's no clear answers. There's mockery, there's laughter, but there's no clear answers. And the mockery and the laughter is not working. Neither is this idea that, well, now the widow has spoken. We're not dealing with the widow. We want the CEO and the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer. Okay? If you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how you're going to be able to lead this organization in the future, because Charlie worked. We knew who Charlie was because he was authentic. Okay? He didn't just go, well, I only make time for like big pocket donors. Okay? He was sitting college campuses. He was speaking to people, understanding people. He was changing his ideas, and he was changing minds. And you are not changing my mind about the fact that something weird happened that day and that TPUSA is acting funny because you give it an impassioned plea and speak about Nehemiah on Fox News. Okay? None of it makes any sense. Anyways, Tucker then goes on and states the obvious predicament further, which is that we just don't have any faith in the government. Take a listen to him discussing some of these lingering questions.
Here's what I am concerned about. A lot of things. One, he acted alone. Tell me how that worked. I don't, none of us really act alone.
It's hard to go anywhere by yourself, too.
Thank you. Exactly. You acted totally alone. Okay. You're going to have to prove that to me. It's totally possible. Anything is possible. Weird things have happened. We'll continue to. But that's not my default assumption, and it shouldn't be.
Now, also, I guess you could allege that like the FBI faked all of the other evidence, like the DNA found at the crime scene or a bunch of other factors here. But again, you're then broadening out the conspiracy theory to include Kash Patel's FBI being in on it and willing to, like, I don't know, do that for Kash Patel. And genuinely, I can't imagine Kash Patel engendering all that much, loyalty, considering his biggest claim to fame seems to have been writing a book slobbing Donald Trump's knob for children. But, that's another observation, I guess.
Yours. And their default assumption was we acted alone. Really? Why do you think that? What about life suggests that people typically act alone? When was the last time you acted alone in anything? I don't go, right? So A. B, we know that people had foreknowledge of this because they posted about it on X and said Charlie Kirk is going to be killed on this date, and he was.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
But were they just guessing? Was it a guessing thing where every day they posted that?
Maybe. Have those people been interviewed? Have they been hauled into FBI HQ and had a long conversation with how they knew that? Like, let's get really specific. Why did you post that? Who have you talked to? Like, if I were doing this investigation, because I spent my whole life doing non-criminal investigations called journalism, like, what do we know is true? How do we find out? Call everybody, be open-minded. It's like it's the same process. If I was doing this investigation, they would be at the very top of the list. Tell me how this guy...
Act alone. It's called a one-person play.
True, Sake Tanuki. And you know what? Usually, only your best friends go to that. And sometimes, they don't show up either. It's an off Broadway production.
Ahem, Tucker ill. Have you know I master debated alone just today. There's your evidence.
Who seemed normal became a radical trans furry murderer? It's not enough to tell me, oh, trans. I'm not pro-trans, by the way.
But was that the guy or his boyfriend?
Well, exactly right. Tell me how this guy became so radicalized that he murdered a stranger. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I want an explanation for how it happened. Why wouldn't I?
I mean, well, one, I don't know. I don't know if either of these men have ever experienced anything amounting to love, but if you care about someone else quite intensely, your emotional reaction to someone who is trying to make it illegal or impossible for them to exist might spur you to take some radical action of your own. Just out of a general desire to extend our lives, that might boggle the imagination of a conservative.
I agree.
Oh, we can't talk about that because it'll prejudice the jury pool. Really?
Does anyone know what happened to the detained shooter anyways? He had his first day in court today, actually.
This was the first time we've seen Tyler Robinson in court in person as the judge considered several emerging issues in the case.
State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson.
Tyler Robinson sat quietly throughout Thursday's hearing as lawyers argued a number.
Reference to the gays tricking someone into loving them from that one video.
You're going to have to be so much more specific. That is a unfortunately common homophobic trope.
Of issues. Robinson is accused of killing conservative activist and influencer Charlie Kirk during an appearance at Utah Valley University earlier this year. Thousands of people witnessed the shooting, and they could have been under a gag order prohibiting them from talking about the case. The same could have applied to political figures who spoke about Kirk's death.
The order as written, we don't believe is a valid and lawful order because it would result in a prior restraint on certain speech.
Robinson's defense team argued against lifting it.
And we have meaning Mr. Robinson's defense counsel, have no problem complying with the order.
There are over 3,000 lay witnesses of the alleged homicide.
The judge ultimately walked it back.
This includes any witness, including lay witnesses, whom the prosecution or defense has a good faith belief will be called to testify at a hearing or trial.
Thursday's hearing also discussed concerns about news media and how much access they can have in the case.
We're concerned about opening the door to multiple other entities just filing in on this case, getting involved in the proceedings.
Defense attorneys complained about what TV cameras were filming and even suggested they'd push to kick cameras out.
I imagine the media will, depending on the court's ruling today, will want to weigh in on that one as well.
As the judge set a May hearing to decide if Robinson will ultimately face trial, defense attorneys announced an effort to disqualify the Utah County Attorney's Office from prosecuting the case.
The county attorney has made a decision, a very public decision, to announce their intent to seek death the day that there was an arrest, which means that that obligation to provide us with the probable cause for everything they relied upon to charge applies now to their intent to seek death.
The judge also designated Charlie Kirk's widow, Erika, a victim under Utah law, giving her certain rights in the courts.
This court will recognize Ms. Erika Kirk as the designated victim representative in this case. Thank you.
The judge will announce his ruling on the media issues later this month. Robinson will be back in court in January. In Provo, Utah, Ben Winslow, Scripps News Group.
So yeah, no, the process is still ongoing. It's just been weirdly quiet.
You've told the world that you have both a confession from him in his text to his boyfriend and the murder weapon with his fingerprints on it. I think you got a pretty solid case. So why is it?
This is the evidence of the tweet? Wait. I'm also not seeing anything that substantiates the text claim outside of social media bros. And honestly, seeing this guy, I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. From Harrison Smith, host of The War Room on InfoWars, in response to Charlie Kirk avoiding Nick Fuentes and not debating Nick. I'm not particularly convinced.
It's so difficult to just explain. So I have said from the beginning, if you don't like what Candace Owens is saying, why don't you call her and offer a more plausible explanation for what happened? Oh, she's bad. She's bad. Okay. I mean, I like her a lot. I don't think she's bad, but I love her actually. But let's just stipulate she's bad. But why wouldn't you do that?
Because I don't agree with some of the stuff that the rabbit hole she goes down, but I don't
even know.
But I like the fact that she likes to dig in the garden, you know?
Theo, we are in this garden, okay? And we're not getting out of this garden with the Fed slop narrative. We're just not getting out of the garden with trying to emotionally manipulate us and say, it's not, this feels like COVID, right? It's not like COVID-19. It's like Candace 19. It's another fake, they're saying it's a fake virus. Like, oh, you got infected. You just can't do it. 6 feet social distancing from Candace Owens. We're going to get every influencer on social media. 6 feet social distancing. Save lives. What are you, a grandma killer? What?
Wait, 6 feet distancing does save lives. It reduces the spread of airborne illnesses. It legitimately does do that. Kind of like how different things have radius of effect. Like, yeah, when you breathe or talk, a bunch of water vapor exudes from your mouth. And that can hang in the air. And if that water vapor has, like, bacteria in it, they can infect other people. That's... God damn it.
You just don't like him? What?
Germ theory isn't real anymore.
And then Tim's all fired up. She's a C-word. People are going to die if you don't get this vaccine. And I'm like, I feel like maybe the government's not telling us the truth. We're right back to that, but it's Candace 19. It's Candace 19. That's what it is. And they think that maybe if they put the little 6 feet social distancing pads in the grocery store, that the PSYOP will win and make us believe that this is like common sense is the virus. I'm the common sense virus. It's coming around. It's so evil. Stay at home, wear a mask, save lives. You don't want to catch it. You don't want to catch the common sense, you guys. You don't want to catch it. Anyways, I dare. I'm sorry, I dare. And I have been very careful because I wasn't sure what direction she was going to go. If she was like, I was like, look, she's got a whole business that she's got to figure out. There's a lot of people in her ear. Maybe they like did this transition too quickly and she's just like keeping her head like, no, what she's saying is Turning Point USA is untouchable.
Jack, you can't logic a death cult. Also, I think I am gonna leave for now. Have fun.
That's fair. A lot of this is a lot of just, honestly, it's less to do with anything about this other than it's grievance politics, really.
It's a no from me, but you know me. I'm just out here saying what needs to be said. We'll be right.
I'm just out here speaking truth to power. That's right.
Back after a brief message
We
from our
got
sponsors.
this.
All right, you guys, when they double down on abortion, we know that we salary-based mortgage from Candace Owens. You guys, Candace 19 is crazy. Okay, I'm worried. You trust the influencers. You know, people over in the chat say we need some Candace 19 merch. Yeah, don't go Max, get the vax. That's what Mark is saying. We should. We're gonna get some gear for you guys. Don't go Max, get the vax. That's the vibe right now. How many influencers is it going to take to get everyone to roll up their sleeves and not go Max? That's where we're at right now. How many people do you have to send out to tell them? Please do it. Wild. Okay. I didn't get the vax. I didn't get the COVID-19 vax. I'm not getting whatever the heck this is. Okay. Which is honestly on its face, federal stupidity is what it is. Now, I can also tell you that because my mommy sleuths, they're so fast before stuff even ends. I get tips about things. And Erika literally today sat down with Barry Weiss. It's been marketed all over. They're going to have this big sit down, a conversation moderated by Barry. It's going to feature voices from across the political spectrum. They're going to talk about grief. And I got this email after, and it's interesting. I got actually a couple of emails, but I'm going to read this one to you because it was a town hall-ish event. Here's what they said went down. This person writes, I just came from the CVS. By the way, whoever wrote this email, I love you. I just love all of the mommy sleuths that are this quick. They wrote, I just came from the CBS Times Erika Kirk town hall, and this is what she said about the conspiracies and Candace. 1, Erika said she was pregnant when the Egyptian planes were flying and following her, so she wasn't on them. She said she has photo proof. Did I ever accuse Erika of being on Egyptian planes? When I found the Egyptian planes, I was...
I gotta be honest, this is mind-melting. Anti-vax nonsense melded into like anti-abortion nonsense, melded into just like a slurry of conspiracy nonsense about like Egyptian planes and like Egypt, and I'm sorry, this is all nonsense. This is actually worse than Rudyard. Yeah, it's exponentially worse than Rudyard content because this lady actually gets so many more views, like 10 times the views that, What If Alt Hist gets. Flying pyramid planes, that sounds very close to the Goa'uld from one of my favorite shows, Stargate SG-1. Yeah, melded into Macron's wife as a man, Michelle Obama's, like the transvestigation bullshit. Like, there's a lot here where I'm just kind of sitting here and thinking, I don't have that much to put in here because all of this is just nonsense. Okay, if you're going to have an issue here, like, bring up undebunked points. Bring up, I don't know, why you think Tyler Robinson isn't the killer. Or if you think Tyler Robinson is the killer, then, like, show the line of connection between him and, like, his handlers. Sketch out the existence of the case. Like, do the things. But, like, Candace Owens doesn't do that. And I don't think that this is all at... Like, I'm sorry, I don't think this adds up to over $2 million. Over $2 million. The Israeli government kills Charlie Kirk. They get billions of dollars from the United States, and their propaganda arm is funded to the hilt. And like they're like, Tucker Carlson can't come to an event, and that they were going to spend $2 million on, and Charlie Kirk's just like, nah, I'm going to bring him anyway. Like, I don't think the state of Israel kills him for that. that's a stupid, silly thing. I don't think the state of Israel risks its entire relationship with the United States by doing that. That is not sensible whatsoever. It doesn't solve problems for them. It creates problems for them. And when we're also like saying, hey, well, okay, but what if they did it anyway? Well, if they did it anyway, Egypt isn't going to help them do it. Like, Egypt has nothing to... Egypt isn't a friend of Israel. Like, Egypt isn't conducting, like, joint operations with Israel to, like, kill assassination targets. It's just bizarre to me.
Concerned that they were following Charlie because I thought, wow, has there been a foreign government that has been tracking his events? Like maybe, I don't know, like running through the operation early, and then we broadened it when someone clued us into the fact that actually these planes have been following Erika. You just heard Tucker Carlson confirm that. I thought she'd be concerned. Instead, she's going to tell us on Saturday that she wasn't on the planes. I never said you were on the planes. Why would I think you were on the Egyptian planes? I don't think that you took off and went to Wilmington, Delaware. I know you didn't go to Wilmington, Delaware on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. I find that answer to be lacking. Okay? That is weird to me. It's a weird answer to give. And by the way, you can fly when you're pregnant. Even if you were on the Egyptian plane, that's a possibility when you're pregnant. So I don't understand that part at all. 2, when Barry asked her about the conspiracies and what she had to say to those saying them, Erika said, stop. No. 3, not about Candace, but she talked about Israel and said good things about Jews and how TPUSA is having Shabbat dinner. No, I didn't read that before we went live at AmFest. Okay. Okay. You guys, I want you to know, in addition to the fact that Charlie, in the last couple of days, wanted people to know that Mikey is fantastic and supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and he had this whole vision, and that Rob McCoy was his favorite pastor, and that you should buy Josh Hammer's book. He also wants you to know to just be a Jew. I think we get it. We get it. Those were his last words. Okay? We get it. Just like, okay. Anyways,
like, y'all get it, right? Like, she's pushing anti-Semitism in, like, the classical sense. Like, she's alleging that Israel had him killed, which, again, Israel's not above, like, killing their enemies. But she's doing it without really any clear evidence, and then is also like, yeah, we get it, guys. You're shilling for the Jews. Because she is also happy to conflate Israel with Jews, right? That's why she laughs at the Shabbat comment, right? Like, people keep saying she's anti-Zionist. She's not. There's a difference between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. Those are two different things. Israel is not all Jews. Like, the state of Israel is not the religion of Judaism.
Moving on from that, I want to say to the 39 bajillion of you who were in the military who emailed us to let me know that I misspoke yesterday. Okay, I even said to you ahead of time, I said, I don't know military vernacular. I don't know these terms. It's like another language. And you guys are not aware of yourselves. Okay, so you critiqued me for saying E4, E3 when I should have said 06. I'm jotting down these notes. I'm having a conversation. I'm trying to fact check things. And for me, I was focusing on the timeline of where he was. I was like getting all of the proof from our military guy who was there for this meeting on September 9th and it's also on September 8th as well. And I misspeak, okay? Because you guys basically speak Japanese. You don't realize you do, but you do. You speak Japanese. And I said E4, E3, and I went back and I checked my notes, and actually he said 06s. Thank you. Thank you for your 26 billion emails to let me know that I don't know ish about the military, okay? It was a human error. I made it very clear that I am ignorant when it comes to the military. I will own that. And so please just be nice to me sometimes, where it's a lot of information.
I think when she says you're all speaking Japanese, she just means you're all speaking something unintelligible to me, but she's doing it in like kind of a racist way.
A lot of researching. And I just wanted to confirm, he said he was where he said he was and take those notes. But no, he did not. He was very clear. I checked the notes that he had said 06. I think I made the mistake when I transferred my notes because he said colonels or captains. Then I Googled it and then I edited it thinking that maybe I heard him wrong. It was over a 1 hour phone call. Anyways, regarding him, for those of you guys that emailed us, I told you, you can trust that we are not just taking a thumbs up from someone. There's a lot of research that goes into all of these things, and we were able to confirm everything he said was real. He gave us his card that he swiped onto the base, and now, because you guys sent so many emails, and actually people who were on that base in Arizona, the Huachuca base in Arizona, adding further credence to his claim, is we've been able to since verify 2 more things from other people that are currently stationed there. First and foremost, I should tell you, we have a positive ID on Captain Neff. He was not sure what Captain Neff's first name was. It was, in fact, Adam Neff, and I'm sure captains have different names, but Adam Neff of the 10th Mountain Division is the individual. I sent picture options to him as your emails were coming in, and then someone said Adam Neff. I sent it, and he confirmed that that is the correct person. There were several, obviously, but Adam Neff was leading the interrogation of him. And it checks out because that is the division from New York. Also, we have now confirmed, and this is exciting because we got a lot of emails going, oh, like if this was really this like meeting, people wouldn't have known it was taking place. They would have used a empty building or something like that. Well, guess what? We have confirmed from people currently stationed on the base that JTF is indeed using a building. I'm not going to name the building. I know the exact one because I don't want to, accidentally violate national security. But effectively, they are borrowing a building. So it's effectively unmarked in that sense. And that building has been turned into, please forgive me if I get this wrong, but I'm reading it direct from the email, SCIF, which stands for a Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility, okay? So They have since added barbed wire around that facility for additional security. Cell phones and other electronics are not allowed. This is where he saw the meeting, by the way. Unless they are government issued, they are not allowed in that building. And it requires top clearance to be granted access into that building. Again,
yes, that is how SCIFs work. Yes.
We have now verified this outside of this individual who was definitively telling the truth. He sent me so much documentation that it was like, I could have showed you everything. His old passport, his new passport, his military ID card, hotels, it's books, times, text messages, phone call logs with his wife. It just really...
as far as I can find, Oni Cages, the best evidence that I can find on my own is that Charlie Kirk's show responds to leaked text messages. Screenshots shared by Owens saw Kirk say that he had lost a $2 million donation from a Jewish donor over his refusal to disinvite the conservative commentator Tucker Carlson from his upcoming America Fest. And you can see the different text messages here. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. But none of them seem to be threats that he thought he was going to be killed. This is not the same thing as leaving the pro-Israel cause. Maybe you're thinking of different texts. I'm not sure.
It's a circumstance that this man has either the worst or the best luck ever when it comes to him sort of stumbling upon military operations, right? First, he finds this cartel tunnel when he's 20. Now we fast forward, he's 56, and he just was getting some coffee, and someone's like, "Here, actually, yeah, no, that's the old boys are getting back together in this unmarked building," and he stumbles in there. It also, by the way, does provide an explanation for why they panicked when he just walked in there, because they were like, he should not have known that this building was here. They didn't buy his excuse. It's 7 hours later, they allowed him to leave, or Captain Neff allowed him to leave. Now, we can also give you some more information that gets really interesting, okay?
Finally.
Remember, Harry...
Finally, interesting information.
...who told me that seeing that many... I hope it's 06. Is it 06? Do not email me, okay?
Oh my God.
He said it is not common unless, and he specifically said, there was some high-ranking congressional member or someone close to the president, like the vice president. Well, we received another tip that makes things especially compelling. So I'm going to just read you this email in its entirety. We have fact-checked it. It is true. Trust us to fact-check stuff, by the way.
Yeah, just trust them. Just trust them.
By the way, guys, we would not just randomly be like, thumbs up. We're just going to go with that. This person writes, I just wanted to bring to your attention that on September 8th, that's when he says that he saw some funny business, 2025, a U.S. government plane, a special air mission plane, caught my eye. This is what I found about that particular plane that is based out of Andrews Air Force Base, shown as Camp Springs below. U.S. Air Force C-37A Gulfstream is Gulfstream 5 is a VIP jet, part of a unit that caters to senior members of the executive branch and Congress. Plane number is 99-0404, as you'll see on the screenshot below. On September 7th, the plane flew from Andrews to Colorado Springs. On September 8th, it flew from Colorado Springs to Tucson. Then, 5 hours later, from Tucson, and then the transponder appears to be turned off. However, at 12:31.
God, you know how you haven't cooked with your conspiracy theory? That even if you go to Candace Owens, the subreddit. Oh, democracy is evil. That's what the Candace Owens subreddit says. Cool. What exactly is the implication regarding the planes, and what does it matter if they tracked one person or another? Must be dense because it seems so left field to me. Candace said it's confirmed these planes were tracking Erika 73 times. The significance is that originally Candace confirmed they were tracking Charlie, but it wound up being Erika who is tracked. Egyptian planes confirmed to cross paths 73 times is extremely unlikely to be a coincidence. The planes followed them around the world, even international locations. I'm just so tired, man. This is like conspiracy slop. This is, again, like what I was talking about the other day. This is numerology writ large.
1 p.m. on September 9th, it flies from Fort Huachuca to El Paso, and then El Paso back to St. Andrews. Now, why is that interesting? Okay, because that means the timeline that he gave us is exactly right. This meeting took place early in the morning. I think it was 7:37 where all this happened. And then he said he assumed it was like a high-ranking congressional person or somebody that potentially could be in the cabinet. This guy is saying that's what that plane is used for. And he also brings in El Paso. Remember, El Paso, Texas is where all those weird flights were coming from on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So that is extremely compelling. And like I said, having spoken to this individual who is planning to come out and do podcasts and speak about that, he's trying to figure it out, which I'm going to help him with this weekend to figure out whose show he can go on and speak more. It's lining up. Like this is actually tracking. I had a sense when I spoke to him that his memory could be trusted. Okay. He was very forthright. He was very honest. I mean, he was so honest that he was like, when I said, oh, is it maybe this, Captain Neff? He was like, ma'am, like I don't want to give you any information that's wrong. I would put that at about maybe 60 to 65% that it could be this person, until I gave him the correct Neff. And he was like, 100% that's the guy that questioned me. So I trust him. And by the way, his heart exploded when I told him about all the emails of people that were in the military currently that were very moved by his story, people who have had the experience of doing the right thing in the military and be treating.
How does that make sense? It actually makes a lot of sense, especially if he then, like, he admitted it and then he talked to his lawyers and then he stopped admitting it. That's kind of how some things go, right? Like, some people go to their priest and say, I definitely did this. I need forgiveness. And then will go to their lawyer and then come out next moment saying, oh, I didn't do that. It's actually pretty common.
Being treated as though they did something wrong for doing their job and serving the American people. Everybody knows there's corruption everywhere, especially at the top. And to all the service members that sent those emails, I want you to know that he said he was close to tears and he was just on his knees, him and his wife, just thanking God because they never thought their story was ever going to come out about what happened to him when he was 20. And that is just something that is really, that's why I said there's so much God in this, because like he either has the best or worst luck, but he just happens to be in the wrong place at the right time, maybe in the right place at the wrong time. Who knows? History will tell us. Continuing the rest of that email from the person who gave us that tip about this plane, he concludes it by saying, "This is the only time that I have noticed that this plane was in Fort Huachuca. If your contact that you mentioned yesterday saw this group of men in the morning, it could line up well with what this aircraft leaving at 11:43."
Like, I'm sorry, guys. I think I've reached my limit. I know there's still like another 20 minutes of this garbage. But like, this woman is trying to claim like Egyptian military is in on this. The Israeli like Secret Service is in on this. The French Legionnaires are in on this. Brigitte Macron is in on this. Like, she thinks that the Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz are doing a satanic ritual. Like, when you watch The Wizard of Oz, the Munchkins are doing like Hail Satan shit. Like, I don't think this has anything to do with anything. Like, to the extent it means anything, I don't think it's related to the assassination. Nothing seems to connect any of this together outside of the pure force of delusion. Yeah, give her another 20 minutes, she'll blame Honduras too. Yeah. This is some yarn work, okay? This is some red string on a corkboard shit. And like, I don't know. I think that there is like nothing that causes me to question the person at the center of all of this. And I know that there are some people who are like, "Oh, the bullet doesn't work." And, you know, I'd be interested to see what evidence is presented by the prosecutor in this case, because I don't know, I'm a simple country streamer, but I would imagine there are perhaps some different types of ammo that might result in different bullet entry and exit patterns, for example. I'm interested to hear what that might be. And I just have to say, there's nothing that really makes me question the veracity of the confession or anything that makes me think that the alleged shooter is connected to any kind of shadowy government op. I don't think like the partner was somehow also paid off by Israel and Egypt and France to do any of this. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence that the shooter himself was connected to any of these people. There's no evidence that his pastor was connected to these people. There's no evidence that his dad was connected to these people. We have text messages from the dad. We have like the confession to the pastor and the dad. We have the note to the partner. We have a lot of stuff that seems to indicate to me that this is the guy that did it without that much compelling evidence to the contrary. So I'm just kind of confused as to the whole network of conspiracy here that is trying to be actively woven around this, outside of it being a cover for, you know, driving that wedge down through the conservative movement and creating this schism that Candace Owens is profiting handsomely by the way. I find it much easier to believe that Candace Owens is grifting as an opportunist versus any of the evidence she's presenting here being actually able to hold up under scrutiny. It was actually Luigi. He did it. He watched the movie Wanted and he learned how to curve the bullets. The story you'll believe is literally coming straight from the government. I mean, the story I'll believe is the one that I have evidence for. And right now, you are not presenting evidence that makes me believe what you're saying or what Candace Owens is saying. I've sat through almost an hour of Candace Owens trying to convince me that this is a real thing, and I'm unconvinced. I don't have, like, this isn't evidence to me of anything other than coincidence or aspersions on Erika Kirk. And like, I don't like Erika Kirk, but like, I don't see any reason to be like, oh, she killed her husband. Like, I think she's weird. I think she's off-putting. I think she's like pretty odious as a conservative, but like, I don't see that as evidence for her being in on the assassination of her husband. I provided a bunch of evidence. I mean, the evidence, as far, because I'm not paying full attention to your conversation back and forth, Oni Cages. I'm just not. But the evidence that I've seen so far is the bullet doesn't really match up. And my understanding is if you use different types of bullets, you can get different types of results. So number one. Number two, the other thing I've seen you say is that there are text messages. And I went and I found the text messages that Turning Point USA has also addressed. And while they play into some anti-Semitic tropes, like, they don't in and of themselves prove anything about the narrative you're trying to say happened, other than Charlie Kirk passed up $2 million so that he could have Tucker Carlson at an upcoming event. That's it. And that isn't like $2 million from the head of Israel, like from Netanyahu himself. No, it's $2 million from an Israeli donor. So, like, probably part of some kind of propaganda op. Like, that's been going on in like conservative media for a while. Like, Israeli government pays like a lot of money to top podcasters and get Netanyahu on. I've talked about this in the past, but I don't think any of these people, if they, like, for example, if the Nelk brothers had turned down like the money that Benjamin Netanyahu's team paid them, I don't think that the Nelk brothers would have been killed. And if you're alleging, well, Charlie had super secret information that they were going to kill him over, what could it possibly, like, what information? What information did he have that was so valuable that they had to kill him? We don't have, like, you can't even allege anything like that. Like, we don't, if that is the case, you need to have evidence that he knew that shit. And you don't have evidence he knew that shit. As far as like, oh, we haven't seen the shooter in a while. Like, yeah, we haven't seen the shooter in a while, but like, that's because we're getting the court stuff all set up. Like, he just appeared in court today, for the first time. You've been sarcastically asking me questions and saying I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, because I think you've fallen into the conspiracy trap. That, like, these things that I'm presenting here, they're not evidence for Israel assassinating Charlie. They're evidence of one potential motive that I find extraordinarily suspect at best. So, like, that's not a very good data point. How can I tell you where to look without providing a copy of the link? You could tell me the name of the website, name of the article, the name of whatever you're looking at. Like, how do you tell someone about a cool new book you read? The loss of $2 million was probably considered by Charlie in the moment as chump change. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what if aliens did it? You know, Charlie Kirk was really upset at losing the $2 million from Israel because he was banking on using that. Okay, so the video's by Flying Lead Ranch. Okay, Flying Lead Ranch. Okay, that's a YouTube channel. Okay, what's the name of the video? Because this guy has a lot of videos. The name of the video is 0.03-6. Okay, there are multiple videos that have that in the title. Ballistic gel head test. Okay, cool.
Well, today we're going to be doing a ballistics gel block test. But before we get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the 30-06 round. Now,
I'm going to speed this up because he's very boring.
Many people don't realize how powerful it is. So I have some other rounds here that I'm going to use to compare
I can't show it on screen because YouTube gets really mad about guns appearing on live streams.
I'm just going to go through each one. I'm going to give you muzzle velocity and muzzle energy. so you can get an idea of the difference in power with all these rounds. Now we're going to start off small. Now keep in mind that in order for a round to be lethal, you need somewhere around at least 59 foot-pounds of energy. We'll start with this little guy. This is a 22 long rifle, 40 grain. Muzzle velocity is about 1200 FPS. Muzzle energy, 128 foot-pounds. I'll move up to the 10 millimeter. Now don't be fooled by relatively small size. People use this for bear defense. That is a 10 millimeter, 180 grain. Muzzle velocity is about 1030. Muzzle energy, 424 foot-pounds. Now we'll move up to the 5.56. That's a 55 grain bullet. Muzzle velocity is about 3180, and energy foot-pounds is somewhere between 1200 to
3 a.m. on
Oni cages. No. I just showed that on stream. I just showed that text on stream. I just did that. Also, losing a $2 million donor isn't the same as thinking that Israel is going to send a kill squad.
Now we'll move up to the 308. That's 150 grain FMJ, about 2,625 FPS with a muzzle energy of about 2,289. So now we're really moving up in energy. So finally we come to the 30-06.
Okay.
This is a 150 grain bullet, muzzle velocity 2,910 with energy foot-pounds at the muzzle about 2,820. So that's a powerhouse. Now this is also a 30-06, but it's a different bullet design. That's a full metal jacket. Now, when this round is fired, it has more of a tendency for penetration than it does expansion. So depending on what it hits, if it hits soft tissue, it could zip right through. Now this is a soft point expanding round, usually used for hunting, deer hunting, whatnot. That lead soft nose there, when that hits something, that'll start to expand at a high speed. We'll come back to the different bullet designs here in a bit. So I want to show you this. This is, I believe, a 3/8 AR-500 steel, and this is what a 30-06 can do to it at about 50 yards. So you got to be real careful even shooting these plates. So let's talk a little bit about the theories and the narrative surrounding the tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk. Everybody knows the official story, which is there was a shooter on the roof at 200 yards with a 30-06 and a round straight to the neck. But for some reason, no exit wound. Now, a lot of people have questioned that narrative, and rightfully so. Now, another narrative going around at the time was there were people saying only a professional could make this shot. So I simply challenged that. I knew that was false right away, because any deer hunter knows that a 200-yard shot with that flat shooting of a round, that's not a difficult shot. But as I said in a previous video, that's not to say that it was or wasn't a professional. I've heard some theorize that the reason why there was no exit wound is because the bullet came in, and I'm going to use this arrow, kind of a pointer. So the shot came in, and I wish I had more neck to work with, but this is kind of the best I could do at short notice. Shot comes down at an angle, and it hits his spine and bounces off his spine. Now, bullets do crazy things at high velocities, but with something with the power of 30-06, I don't think that's going to ricochet or bounce off a spine. Now, fragmentation and ricochets may happen, say, on a bear or an elk, but very unlikely on a human being. Now, I think a little more plausible explanation might be he was wearing body armor, and I know some people say no, he wasn't wearing body armor, but some say that he was. Let's say he was wearing body armor. Let's say the shot comes down, it hits the top edge of the plate of his body armor and then ricochets into his neck. That is possible, I believe. Now, I'm not an expert on body armor, so someone might say, no, it can't ricochet. But again, high-speed bullets can do some crazy things. Now, I think an even more plausible theory, see if I can get this guy turned around, was that it was another shooter from the back. And that the angle of the shot was here and then came out here. Now on the last video, I disassembled and reassembled my rifle. Okay, there you go, try to put the time sample over there. So now I'm gonna have to test my zero, see if I'm still on. So please bear with me while I take some test shots.
Okay, takes test shots.
The
Ballistic
effect
sample.
of a .6 round on the human skull.
Yeah, all right, slow-mo shots, etc.
You got the cylinder gap, and you got the shorter barrel with the revolve.
I can't show you gun content on a live stream, sorry.
But I'll just take a shot and see if that is more consistent with what we've seen in the footage. Is that more consistent with what we saw? And there we go.
Steel
Now the
beams
moment
melt
of
rocket
truth.
fuel.
Do I believe that it was a 30-06 used in this crime?
Indeed, Salmon Moose.
I'll answer that for you. No. First of all, it doesn't have the right sound. It almost sounds like the rifle used, or the firearm used, was somehow suppressed or maybe subsonic ammo, but I believe it was a much smaller caliber. And I've heard anything from 22 long rifle to 5.56. The only way it could have been an .6, I believe, is if it would have ricocheted, hit something hard, and then went to the wounded area. Now, let me just say this in closing, and that is, I realize how sensitive of a subject matter this is, but at the end of the day, what's really important is that the person who actually perpetrated this needs to be brought to justice.
I think this guy seems suspicious now.
Let's hope that
True.
our government will be transparent, the FBI will be transparent. We can only hope.
I would have to say this in response to this. I don't know shit about shit when it comes to guns. I don't. It's fine. But what I will say is, again, if this is like an Israeli hit, then you have to account for the autopsy results. You have to account for how that caliber of bullet got inside that body and fragmented. And if it's much closer with a different caliber of bullet, well, then that should be pretty easy to figure out, shouldn't it? You should know that it's a different bullet type. You should know it's a different gun. You should know it's a different entry trajectory. And if you're alleging that, like, the bullet comes down the back and comes out the front, well, then that's an entry and an exit wound that would be very easy to discern from an autopsy. Again, this is the conspiracy theory kicking in. Like, okay, so then the guy who did the autopsy has to be in on it. Okay, sorry. There was no official autopsy. The guy who did the surgery that said they identified the bullet, because again, they still have to collect evidence from the body, even if there's not an official autopsy. They're all in on it. Again, you have to deal with what actually we have. I'm trying to find a good source here. Here's one. Here's a
Where's
video.
the exit wound? That's the question blowing up online about Charlie Kirk's assassination, and the real answer is stranger than
This is Lauren the Mortician.
you think. But while everyone is chasing conspiracies, the truth is actually found in a place that most people never get to see, the autopsy room. So today let's talk about what really happens when someone is murdered, what an autopsy looks like, and why results take so long to come out. Because trust me, there's a process. And it's not as quick or clean as the internet wants it to be. When Kirk was shot in the neck, people online immediately noticed there was no exit wound. Cue the conspiracy theories. I mean, I love a good conspiracy, but yeah. When people online saw no exit wound, the theories came flying faster than the bullet itself. But sometimes the body just keeps the receipts. According to his spokesman, Andrew Colvett, the surgeon was stunned. That bullet should have been a through and through. Instead, the coroner found it lodged just beneath the skin. So yes, there was no exit wound. Not because of a cover-up, but because the bullet simply never exited. And in a bizarre twist, that probably saved lives. It could have hit staff, crowd, behind the tent, behind Charlie Kirk. That's ballistics for you. Unpredictable, messy, and often surprising. Now, why does this sound familiar? Because this isn't the first time a missing wound or an unexpected bullet path has launched 1,000 conspiracy theories. Think about JFK. Half a century later, people are still dissecting the Zapruder film frame by frame, arguing over whether there was one bullet, two bullets, or a cover-up. The head wound, the angles, the magic bullet. That confusion lives on because what we see on film doesn't always match what the body shows on the table. Or look at Tupac. His autopsy photo became infamous online because people swore it was fake. Why? Because they didn't want to believe he actually died. And the wounds didn't look like how the internet expected them to look. So suddenly it turned into Tupac faked his death. Tupac's living in Cuba. Sound familiar? The Charlie Kirk exit wound rumor is just the latest in a long line of cases where what the public sees doesn't match what forensic science later confirms. And every single time, conspiracy theories fill that gap. Now, I get it. We live in a world where we've all seen things online that we can't unsee. And this case was no different. It's not every day a public figure collapses on camera in front of the world. And
Maybe
when
it's
that
cover-up.
happens,
I'm a
Maybe
little
it's
worried
Maybelline.
she's going to show something gnarly from the footage here. Maybe it's a cover-up, maybe it's Maybelline.
people want answers. They don't always trust
Thank you for the 2
media.
tier 1 sub sockets.
They start
Energy.
looking at blurry screenshots, asking why things don't look the way that they expected them to, and suddenly there's 1,000 different theories. And honestly, that's human nature. But here's the thing, what looks like a mystery to the internet is just a Tuesday to a medical examiner. Which brings us to the autopsy. Had lots of questions about the autopsy. And here's something most people don't know. If there's a video of the death, the autopsy team still has to watch it, even if it's obvious. They need to compare what's on the tape with what they see on the table. That's part of making sure the cause and manner of death are accurate and defensible. So here's the step-by-step. 1, they do an external examination. They photograph the body, document every wound, bruise, tattoo, scar. If there's a gunshot wound, they measure it, note any powder burns, stippling, entrance versus exit, if there is one. 2, evidence collection. Clothing is bagged, projectiles are recovered,
Yeah, look, this is, yes, why the autopsy would be important. It would confirm or disprove the government's claims.
Nail scraping, swabs, you name it. In a shooting case, bullets or fragments are removed and logged as evidence for ballistic testing. I also want to note that when they are collecting the clothes from the medical examiner's office, they do cut them off of the body. I don't know why they do that. It drives me crazy because I've had families ask for the clothing back after autopsy and they are cut. Step number 3, they do an internal examination. This is where that Y incision happens. Organs are removed, weighed, and examined. The bullet track is traced through tissue to show exactly where it hit.
I wonder
If
if the
the bullet
discrepancy
stopped-
between his face size and body size was recorded on the autopsy.
Abnormally large noggin. It's a real disease, Sake Tanuki. Don't belittle it.
Inside, like in Kirk's case, it's recovered and preserved for evidence. And then step number 4, they do toxicology samples. Blood, urine, vitreous fluid from the eyes, tissue samples. Even when death is obvious from a gunshot, toxicology is required. That's actually the part that takes the longest for us to get the autopsy results back. So let's pause. What is toxicology? It's basically the science of testing what substances were in the body. Alcohol, drugs, medications, poisons. It matters because even if someone is killed by a gunshot, substances in their system can change how the case is interpreted legally or medically. Sometimes you think it's a straightforward case, and then toxicology reveals something unexpected. Think of it as a death cocktail menu, and trust me, nobody wants to order off of it. And step number 5 is review of outside evidence. That includes medical records, police reports, and yes, the video footage. All of it helps piece together a full picture. Now, here's the part that frustrates the public and the media, I'm sure. Speed. The autopsy itself might only take a few hours, but the report, that takes weeks. So why? Toxicology. The big delay. 4 to 6 weeks to get those results back is normal. Now, there might be backlogs. Many medical examiners' offices are understaffed. They process orders in the order they receive them. Utah has been criticized before for slow turnaround times. Or a legal review. Sometimes reports are held back if releasing them could interfere with a criminal trial. So we might not get these results right away. So even though the family might get preliminary findings right away, the final report is rarely public for a month or 2. And I looked it up, and the state of Utah state law requires the Office of the Medical Examiner to provide a full report, but it doesn't say how fast. Delays are normal. That means the Kirk family might already have some answers, but the public, we're waiting. And that's a standard. So where does that leave us? Charlie Kirk's death was shocking, and watching it play out on video only adds to the public's unease. But the missing exit wound isn't a cover-up. It was just how the bullet behaved. And as for the rest, that will come from the autopsy once the science is finished. That's the thing about working with the dead.
So basically, we might not get this anytime soon. If the evidence went against the criminal trial, that'd be a big deal. Agreed. It would be a really big deal. But also, if they already have those results, the prosecutor would almost certainly have those results too. It's not like they bring the autopsy results in halfway through a criminal trial. They would already know the results of that autopsy. That would be part of their decision-making in bringing the case in the first place. I'm guessing that because they're going forward with it, the autopsy aligns, at least roughly, with their claim. Now, perhaps the defense can put holes in it, holes in the story that the prosecution can't explain. But, yeah, if the prosecutor couldn't substantiate their case due to the autopsy results, they drop the case. Because you're not going to get away with simply not putting in the autopsy results in this trial.
Wouldn't the wife also be conclusive instead of speculative if she had received preliminary findings?
Wouldn't the wife also be conclusive? Wait. Instead of speculative if she had received preliminary findings? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding that one, Sake. Maybe I'm too addled by the rot. Or they would just never let the evidence see the light of day. That's the thing, though. You're legally required do the autopsy. Like, you can't just be like, oh, well, no autopsy, teehee. Like, I'm pretty sure that would be grounds for Tyler Robinson to throw the case out. Basically, she wasn't sure enough if there was any evidence to the contrary. Ah, I see. That's what's so sketchy about the case. Yeah, but it's not sketchy unless they just are like, oh, the autopsy results disappeared in a fire. Because as far as I know, the autopsy is still, like, done. They have the results for the autopsy. That would inform the prosecutor. We just don't have it publicly released yet. It doesn't seem sketchy thus far. It's the same fire that took the Baudelaire orphans and their parents. From the information I have, they never did an autopsy. Well, they definitely did an autopsy, because if there's a surgeon that opened up
The Graham
Charlie
Hancock
Kirk's body,
levels of what if are high with this one.
Immensely high. Look, as far as we're aware, we know that Andrew Colvett has claimed that Charlie Kirk was opened up. They knew that the bullet fractured inside of his body. If that's the case, that he knows that because he read the autopsy results, or some preliminary or some secondary autopsy results, right? And so that's how we know that. They definitely did an autopsy, otherwise people are going to, like, be fired, lose their jobs, and I'm guessing if it's all orchestrated by Israel, they would say Israeli agents paid them to do it or something like that. I don't know. I feel like there'd be a lot of evidence for all of the things that it would take to make this happen. Odds are the defense has seen it by now. Yeah, absolutely. If the defense hadn't seen an autopsy result, like, it would be extraordinarily weird. Yeah, so prosecutors usually get the finalized medical examiner documents in about 6 to 12 weeks. They can get preliminary info earlier. So there are preliminary and final reports. It is likely that they decided to go ahead with the prosecution on the preliminary report. They're probably going to get a more detailed one in, like, the next week or two. I'm guessing that that's the case here. And if it's not, we'll find out over the course of this trial. Well, there are a lot of conspiratorial claims around the assassination. And one of those claims is that they never did an autopsy, which just isn't the case. They had to have done an autopsy, otherwise we wouldn't know that his vertebrae of steel stopped the bullet. Yeah. Again, we wouldn't have the claims from the Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA team.
There's no evidence that ancient aliens didn't do multiple autopsies.
Yeah, look. We only think that the autopsy hasn't already been done because aliens took his body back to the year 65,000 BC and did the autopsy. His autopsy's been done for the past 67,000 years. It was the Ratman. It all checks out. It all checks out. They were doing the bidding. Ms. Milena, we started this segment with a bit. We're ending the segment with a bit. All right? Remember earlier when I was doing a really funny, jokey joke about stealing the Declaration of Independence and or the Constitution? And then I revealed that it was all a big hoopla, a big charade by the Lord Klickzatsu. Okay, a lot of you didn't understand that Lord Klickzatsu, the Lord of all who surveys, who lives on the top of Mount Everest, lording over all he surveys. You guys didn't realize it, but I was actually communicating to the Ratmen of the past in order to give them a series of clues, a breadcrumb trail or a cheese crumb trail, if you will, in order to lead them on their own national treasure hunt, in order to go and find the royal mausoleum that is, of course, buried deep inside Mount Everest, that you can only access by presenting the Constitution of the United States of America. And then they went back in time and they did it. It's true. You all thought that was a funny bit. I was communicating with them. Does Curtis Lewa know? Of course he doesn't know. Of course he doesn't. He thinks they're animals. He thinks they're incapable. of rational thought. But really, we're just talking about a new age, a new war between the rat men of the sewers below New York City versus the lizard people that live up in their ivory towers near the top of Mount Everest. It's true. It was the lithium-ion batteries. The decaying acid is what fuels their civilization. All right, that was all, again, to remind everyone, that was an elaborate bit related to a bunch of other bits that I've done for, like, the last several months. And if you don't understand it, that's fine. You'll catch up eventually. Yeah, no, guys, you guys are all thinking Curtis Sliwa was, like, an without bias. And Curtis Sliwa was biased with extraordinary amounts of hatred for the rat men, but the rat men do not deserve such scorn and mockery and hatred. Your skeptical powers are slipping. How long has it been since you watched X-Files? Too long. No. The lizard people don't live in the sewers of New York City. The rat men live there. The lizard people live in their ivory towers near the peak of Mount Everest. Jack got rid of Dr. Softhole because she was this close to finding the truth. It's true. One of the last communications Dr. Softhole had was about how she was afraid that she might be killed by the rat men. Sorry, the lizard people, rather. Lord Klickzatsu can't spell rational without rat. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. God. All right. What about the wizard people? Oh, I'll tell you about wizard people another time, dear readers. And honestly, that all just reminds me, if you guys haven't experienced wizard people, dear readers, for yourselves, it's the only acceptable way to experience Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. You're all welcome. Life is full of stressful times right now, and honestly, if you need a really good time, consider a little bit of that silly weed substance, and then sit down and watch this. It's a genuinely great time. Honestly, even if you're not high, it's a genuinely great time.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and Swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's